25% tariff for conventional beef imports. Also, they've accepted a 25,000-ton preferential quota on sheep meat and an autonomous safeguard clause that's similar to what the EU has inserted into the Mercosur deal to try to calm the anger of farmers. So if Australian products started flooding the EU market, they could shut off the trade deal essentially in an emergency way. Now, I mentioned that this started being negotiated immediately after Brexit. The UK actually struck its own trade deal with Australia very shortly after Brexit. So you might ask, what's the difference between these two trade deals? Well, the EU's trade deal is much more protected. For the UK, it was very important politically to have a fast win after Brexit. And critics of the UK-Australia deal say that Australia really won that trade deal, that the UK accepted unfair terms. They didn't put protections in for their own markets because it was so important to get that deal done quickly. The EU did this more slowly, and they used their size and their power, and in the end, Australia accepted the conditions that the EU was attached. Now, if you're a big pro-free trader, you would say, no, it was more important to have maximum free trade and have this struck the fastest as possible, but people on the other side of the argument would say, in the long run, the EU is better off here because they got the protections in there that they wanted, which the UK wasn't able to get. I should still caution that this is just the signature of the deal, this deal's final text. This still needs to be ratified by the European Parliament and by national governments, and as we saw with Mercosur, that can prove tricky.
Well, at least they got there in the end, I suppose, Dave. But what are the two sides then hoping to get out of it?
Well, as you heard from that soundbite from Ursula von der Leyen, she's very much